2-year deal, mate. What's it been to be securing a deal there?
It's really exciting. Queensland's my home. I can't wait to keep representing it, and over the last 2 years have just really made me want to stay here more and put that jersey back on and finish what we started.
Had a few conversations like this before re-signing, mate. Was there ever a thought of leaving?
Not really, to be honest. There was no doubt in my mind where I wanted to stay and where I wanted to play, and I'm really glad we made it happen. So, I've got a lot of thanks to Brad and Sam and the whole Reds organisation, my manager as well, who's helped out a lot during this deal. And I'm really excited. I think it's really positive for me and gives me options to chase that Queensland and Wallabies jersey, which I want to force my way back into.
You mentioned those options, mate. So, forefront of your mind is getting back into that national setup next year.
Yeah, 100%. That's the primary goal. Is obviously a bit of work to do before then, just getting the shoulder right and the body humming before a 2023 season with the Reds, and hopefully go a bit further than we did this year. But the primary goal is then to push for that World Cup selection with the Wallabies, and it's something I've been chasing for a long time now, and I just want to get myself back on the paddock firstly, play some good footy, and hopefully push for selection. But the beauty of this deal is that if that doesn't come through, then I'll get to play some more footy somewhere else, and not quite sure where that is, but the way the last 2 years have gone for me, I haven't played much footy, so the exciting part is being able to play footy in the off season as well, and I can't wait for that.
You mentioned you don't quite know those options. Are there any countries or competitions that you're interested in?
No, honestly, not too much at the moment. To be honest, it wasn't something that I initially thought of, the sort of flexi deal or anything like that. My whole thinking was always I want to play my footy in Queensland and stay here and play Super Rugby. So again, I'm really grateful to Sam and Brad, who actually presented me that option and sort of made it known that you've earned that little flexible deal, and being able to then hopefully be at the World Cup with the Wallabies. But secondary to that is then playing some footy and just getting some more games under my belt, because it's been a long 2 years of watching on the sidelines.
Seeing guys like Dave Kirk and Jed Holloway in England and in Japan come back and take their game to new heights. So if that Wallabies selection doesn't come off, that must be a good chance to develop your game overseas.
Yeah, it is, and that's what we spoke about, is getting a few different experiences, learning from different players, different coaches, and trying a different style of footy as well. So again, I'm probably not going to focus on where that will be until towards the end of the super season next year, but it's exciting to know that the opportunity's there, that there's a potential to further my game and get a bit of growth there, and just something I'm really looking forward to. But representing Queensland first, and that's what I'm here for.
Shoulder back, how's it going?
It's going really well. We're making good progress. The physio team's been outstanding. Fluky and I are doing our shoulders together at the moment, so it's good to have someone working alongside doing pretty similar stuff. So the range is coming back well. The strength is on the way up. So looking set for a good 2023.
The culture in here at the moment, obviously, there's been a bit talked about towards the back end of the super season that didn't quite go the way we planned. Can you tell us about the group here?
Yeah, the group's really strong. We've had good reviews, good honest conversations, and sort of put a line in the sand to the end of last year on what we wanted to do from 2022 and moving forward to 2023. So the group here is really committed to it. The coaching staff have had great conversations as well. We've been, I think, really good at trying to get that conversation flowing between us now, which is just really positive for what we can do in 2023. And everyone here is full support behind Queensland, looking forward to making things happen. And we got some exciting things coming up with club finals firstly. So that combined with a good pre-season and good things happening, the squad's strong.
Your defence coach as well, mate. That'll be exciting to see new ideas.
Yeah, that will be cool. Toddy's a big loss. He's been around this organisation for a long time, and doing every job under the sun while he's been here. So we're going to miss him and we wish him well, but it's awesome to also bring in a bit of fresh experience into this group and, a new style perhaps. So we're looking forward to seeing who that is and announcing that shortly. And I think the guys are excited to work with someone new and just get new ideas and keep growing and learning as well, because a lot of guys are still young and want to learn, but we've also got that good mix of experience coming through.
National Rugby Training Centre behind us, mate, is just going up at a rapid rate. That must have been a pretty enticing part of stadium around at Valley.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely a factor. We've had a lot of meetings over the years about what we want to be in this and what we wanted to represent about Queensland and rugby and the Reds. So I want to be here when it's finished. We're looking at hopefully May next year, and it's going to be just such an awesome part of Queensland rugby. I think. Like I said, it was a part for me to stay to see it completed. I think it'll be a big part in guys wanting to come to Queensland in the future and wanting to stay in Queensland. So, it's going to help immensely, and we'll hopefully be on the build side again not too soon.
And Ronga's obviously 3 years now as captain. I think 27 games you've captained the state already. How have you developed as a leader alongside Tate next year?
Yeah, it's been a good development. Obviously, my first year in 2020 was quite a whirlwind year with COVID, the competition being thrown out, all that sort of stuff. And I've just tried to take little learnings along the way. And despite not being on the field as much the last 2 years with the captaincy title, I've had to do a lot of learning off the field and find a lot of resilience there. So I think the biggest thing I've learned is working with the guys that we have and the coaches and the staff and, everyone in Queensland who wants to help rugby grow. And, it's about putting the ego aside and looking for help and knowing that I don't have all the answers. And so Tatey's been great this year as well, where we can bounce off each other. James was great the year before. And again, many leaders coming through in this group. It's they're making my job a hell of a lot easier. I'm really enjoying it and going to look to continue growing in it.
James, as you mentioned, another leader in our squad. Obviously, not the result he wanted with the Warriors squad, but really good for the coach to have him playing some club rugby and hopefully here for a full pre-season for you guys.
Yeah, it is. It's a shame for James. I think he's. In typical James fashion, he's just put his best foot forward and gone out and won a game for Brothers on the weekend. So as much as I was hoping Brothers would lose and East would get into the finals there, he's done an excellent job. And speaking to him, he's devastated, as you'd expect. But he's putting his right foot forward. He's helping the guys down at Clubland. And as much as a loss it is for him, the first thing he said to us is that, how psyched he is to help out here and have a pre-season. And I think that'll be a massive positive for our group to have him here and, start building on things that we want to have set in practice for 2023.
All club rugby, your Tigers are still a mathematical chance. It needs a bit of a miracle, but pretty cool to have a tight competition this year.
Yeah, it's my tipping hopes have gone out the window thanks to Jimmy over here, but I'll be tipping Sunnybank this week to beat Brothers by a long margin, and hopefully the Tigers get up over Bond and a few other things go our way, and we could see us here at Ballymore or Suncorp rather for the finals.
Putting some bias aside, who do you think is the team to beat this year?
Mate, I think UQ has done what they always do and peaking at the right time of the year. Brothers with a few of their players back are going to be hard to beat as well, but I think UQ is just peaking at that right time. Again, West have a lot of class there, finishing off with some, possibly easier end of the draw matches. So that'll be interesting to see how their form goes into the first week of eliminations. But again, they've done well to get themselves that second chance. So I'm going for Jeeps, but I think it might be UQ.
Mate, with the way the Reds have evolved, I guess, into next year, there's no Lucan, no Angus Scott Young, no Marth, some of Brad's real building blocks at the start, which you were one. Is it going back to the start? Is it a whole new? Has Thorny actually got to start again in a lot of ways, or with the squad, or is there a continuum there?
Yeah, no, I don't think we need to start again at all. Obviously, those guys have done a lot of work through the program with Brad and myself being a part of that. You've got guys like Blythe, Tate, Jock was in that NRC sort of team, and a lot of guys that have sort of come through the ranks there still, under Thorny in the 20s and the NRC. And at the same time, there's been a lot of guys pulled up over the last few years who've had to learn that pretty quickly. And they're just going to take over now. We're going to miss those guys. They've been excellent, but it's at points in their career where they need to do other moves that are right for them. We've got a lot of guys here that are ready to step up and take that role in terms of leadership capacity and then on field as well. So, I think it's exciting. We saw guys step up last year, and Ryan Smith, Blythe, I thought had great seasons in a row. Obviously, Seru's stepping up there in the back row as well. And we've got a lot of young hookers coming through who are just ready to put everything on the line. So, no, but by no means do I think we're starting again. If anything, I think it can blood some more excitement and some freshness as well, with some different perspectives that'll serve us well.
I guess the extension of that was that having won Super Rugby AU last year, it looked like the natural extension was, okay, the same group, we'll beat a few Kiwi teams and get into the finals this year, which in a higher position, which didn't really happen. So in those frank reviews you had, what did you sort of work out was the missing link for the team, or where the squad were most efficient in terms of not getting some of those results sorted out?
Yeah, we obviously realised in those reviews that we seriously missed a beat this year. We wanted to step up, like you said. The obvious progression was from beating the Aussie teams to then taking on the Kiwi teams and putting results in the corner there. And we quite frankly just didn't do that. I think a lot of it we've sort of found was just our alignment in terms of what we were trying to achieve. We obviously lost some key strengths towards the end. Our scrum wasn't as reliable with Nella. I thought the guys there still did an excellent job, but it suddenly went from a penalty fest where Nella would get a penalty every scrum to our guys doing really well to hold their own there. And similarly, our line-out wasn't up to scratch for a long part of the year, and Smithy did a great job sort of getting that strong again towards the end. So I guess just finding things that we can go back and fall on when the game got tough. Pleasantly, I think we did that sort of in the quarterfinal and even that last round 15 game, the last sort of half of that game. We sort of found what worked for us, and I guess that's simple physical footy. When we put a team out there that was just willing to put their body on the lines and go hard for each other, and I guess the fight within Queensland is no secret. It's something that's carried us well through a lot of games, and I guess now combining that with just the right sorts of moments and combining good moments there.
So with the Flexi deal, you're saying that you hadn't even thought of it, or your manager hadn't even thought of it until Thorny and Sam provided you with the option?
Yeah, so my manager provided me with all the options. I shut him down pretty quick in that I wanted to play my rugby in Queensland, which is a good thing about what's happened. But between him going back and forth with Sam and Brad, they came up with this sort of flexi short-term contract, I guess, which I didn't know about. I guess a big part of mine was just wanting to play my Super Rugby in Queensland and wanting to represent Queensland again. So I didn't know that was possible with having another option sort of in the off-season to go and play somewhere. For them to put that in front of me, and they brought me in, had a meeting, didn't just sort of do it over the phone, and sort of explained the benefits and the pros and the cons and why they thought it might suit me better. And I'm really grateful to my manager, to Sam, to Brad for putting that forward and approaching me like a man and trying to help my career progression.
Yep. So the potential there with players going to the World Cup and competitions going on is ideally you make the World Cup squad and it's irrelevant, but if you don't, so is the scope for like being a medical joker or something, going in for just 10 weeks or committing to a whole season over there that wipes out 2024 Super Rugby, or is it a more short-term thing, or unresolved?
No, so I'm definitely coming back for the 2024 season. Like I said, that was a huge part of my contracting process, was making sure that I was playing Super Rugby in Queensland for the next 2 years, and that's what I wanted. And especially after the last 2 years that I've had, I just want to put that Queensland jersey on and represent it. So, I don't think it'll quite be a medical joker, given that a lot of teams over there will be requiring players post the World Cup, sort of. So I think it'll be a bit longer than a medical joker, but by no means will it be a full season. It'll be sort of a 4 or 5 month stint, hopefully learn a lot, get some footy under my belt, and come back refreshed a bit as well.
So France possible, Japan possible, somewhere in England's possible?
Yeah, I think probably Japan not as realistic, given that their sort of game time season isn't at the same time. But I think, France, UK, even New Zealand has some appeal with the NPC over there. But I guess the real kicker of it is not knowing where I want to go at the moment. I want to sort of focus on getting my body right, ready for the season, and get most of the season under my belt, hopefully. And then towards the end of the season, we'll sort of speak around where's the best place for me, coaching-wise, player-wise, and experience-wise too, I guess.
I guess with South Africa's teams in Europe now, there's potential to follow your roots and get a horrible Yapi accent.
Yeah, possibly. I always grew up sort of wanting to represent the Durban Sharks, so it could be a possibility at some point, but like I said, we'll wait and see a little bit. It would be pretty cool. I don't think I'll get the accent back, much to Mum and Dad's dismay, but it's...
Have Mum and Dad got accents?
They do, yeah. I don't hear it, but they do have accents, so yeah, would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I guess it's hard to... I've seen when people are signing new players, it's hard to find new players to sign with experience. Has the player group, having had that angst with Isaac Lucas and Hocko leaving, talked about it themselves, like senior guys saying, okay, well, it was a fraught time, we've got no problems if they came back into as an option for Queensland, or have you had any chats with Sam relative to that?
Yeah, regarding those two, we haven't had any chats, not with Sam and that, but yeah, that's well in the past for us. So if they wanted to come back, they'd be welcomed in with open arms, I think. But you know, seeing the way they're both performing in Japan, I think it's probably a bit likely that they'll stay there. You know, Zaki had a killer season this year, and Hocko did too, until he missed that last game with a hand injury. So. Yeah, they'd be more than welcome back. I know, you know, Brad and Sam and all those guys, and especially the playing group, have no issues with those guys coming back. They would add a lot for sure, but there's also not much talk about, you know, needing to fill a lot of spots. I think Jonesy coming in will be great. He's got that line-out calling experience, that locking role, and that sort of back row capability too, and he'll be excellent. He's a great bloke. I toured with him in 2019, and you know, a really good man. But you know, apart from that, the beauty and the pain of this year was that we spent a lot of time with our key guys on the field, and I think it showed that there's lots of guys there that will step up and did step up and can step up again. So I don't think there's anything major there to fill with new talent. I think we've got the talent here in Queensland, as Queensland always does, and it's our job to bring it out.
So you're saying that you feel Brad's moved on from that situation as well, like he'd be able to sort of... if they fitted anything in the next year or two, he'd be able to sort of move on and embrace them again?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Brad's not holding any bad blood there. Obviously don't want to speak for him, but they're great guys, and they had to make a decision at a pretty tough time in the world that was right for them, and you know, I think they've excelled over there as well, so it's nice to see, and we like to see Queenslanders doing well, so yeah.
Well, these structures that have been put in place with Australia A and I guess Queensland touring, they're a factor of there just not being enough footy around, possibly for beyond, away from Super Rugby or away from the Wallabies. You played a lot of NRC. Is it just adapting to life without an NRC, or filling a void that you see now to an advantage?
Yeah, I think there's a massive void here in Australian rugby for a sort of third-tier comp like this, and just for guys to play more continuous footy. Obviously, we were quite blessed with NRC when we were coming through, and you know, Brad being able to bring a lot of younger guys through and just play them footy all year round and get them a bit battle-hardened, and you know, I know we all really enjoyed that. It was definitely a thought as well for my sort of re-signing was, you know, I didn't want to, especially after 2 years missing most of the season, then to have sort of another off-season at the end of it, sitting around not playing much footy, is you know, a big component of why this deal is going to be really exciting for me, at the possibility of playing footy in the back end of the year. Because sort of up until COVID hit, you were playing footy all year round, and so it'd done about 4 or 5 years of just footy, you know, and then injuries happened, so it led to, you know, saying an off-season might be good, get the body right. But now after a couple seasons out and knowing that there isn't that sort of third-tier availability to play footy in sort of September, October, yeah, it's a gap that needs to be filled, I think, and you know, at least for me, I'm grateful that I could have that opportunity with this new deal.
So what do you think is the solution to find more footy? Like, I guess one of the conversations that say the young number 10s in Australia, it's a bit hard playing club footy, Super Rugby. Where you've got to be the main game controller. There's not too much. You can learn a lot of Super Rugby, but it's a fairly glory or bust type scenario. You don't have that level where you can just play 10 games and just get the hang of it.
Yeah.
I think Isaac played 8 games for Brisbane City one year. Particularly, we're just trying to play him into number 10. It seemed like a pretty good system. Where do you see extra games coming from?
Yeah, look, I don't have the full answer for that. I know extra games need to be played. That NRC was, in theory, was a really good way of just getting extra footy. I think the way it fell down was probably not having the fan base and the support and things like that. But I know there was going to be sort of a Super A sort of round robin system put together this year, which I think would have been really good. It gives that opportunity for guys that aren't in Wallabies to step up and take positions that may not have been available during the super season, get some high quality games against other high quality players, high quality teams that are actually within their systems as well, that they practice all year, not having to sort of go to a different team and try and learn a whole new thing and then bring it back and change it again for the next year. So I think that would be really exciting. Obviously, we need Sanzar and a few people like that to come to the table with probably a bit of financial support for that initially to get it going. But I think all the merits are there to just play more footy. You've got guys here on contract all year who are sort of slaving away in the gym and on the field, and the club footy in Sydney and in Brisbane in particular has been really, really good. But again, it finishes quite early and there's a lot of footy guys who want to play footy.
So that Super A was across the whole Trans-Tasman comp, so you'd have Blues A, Crusaders A, or just Australian?
I think it was just Australian teams from what I understand, but again, it didn't quite get up and running, mainly because I think of financial backing. But here at Queensland, we happily support that. Getting our guys more footy and more time in a Queensland jersey is always good.
Okay, mate, good stuff.
Awesome.
Thanks
Thanks
mate.
Jimmy.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.